Rise! The great financial reset is here. You need to get prepared, warriors. My name is Coach JB. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. Remember, what you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now, that's the most important part. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity, warriors. And we are going to watch this video again. I don't know how many YouTubers have done this. I don't watch a lot of other YouTubers. I don't really watch any other YouTubers. I just do research. But this video is very, very important. We're going to watch this two people speak at the World Government Summit. The great financial reset is here. Now, I've been sharing this for over two and a half years now, but now we can actually show facts, figures, numbers, logic, and this is your time to. There's no time left to start preparing, warriors. Most people are going to wait till the freight train has left the building. Most people are going to wait till the freight train has left the building. They're going to wake up in a new monetary system. The fact is, America's global dominance and the U.S. currency is at its breaking point. Number one, all fiat currencies collapse at some point. There's always a switch in superpowers. Number two is the currency has ran its course. Number three is this has been set up since 1971. This has been slowly and methodically planned out to bring us into a one world order where there's going to be different currencies running across one blockchain or one system, a web of blockchains that are going to create financial inclusion and increase monitoring, getting rid of fiat paper currency, and all of your transactions are going to run across a very, 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 very monitored blockchain. Okay, so let's run in. So you have a choice. You can sit back. You're going to have to use it, right? So when you walk into Chipotle and they say, we don't accept cash, what do? You still use your debit card. Thank you. Okay, so let's jump right into it, warriors. So we're going to watch this video once again, and I need you to really listen. Listen to what they're saying, okay? And then I'm going to take you through facts, figures, numbers, logic. And of course, you can join our free Discord by clicking the description of this video to join our free Discord to join the conversation. So please listen into what they're saying.
A sense of where we're at and the impact that this will have on global policy going forward and how this world is run.
The impact of the economics of it all. Well, first of all, let's take a look at what makes up world orders. World orders are that a group of countries across the world agree to a set of rules, and they agree to play by them. The second is there's a balance of power so that no power feels that it can subjugate a neighbor. That's what we've lost in Russia. There wasn't a balance of power. Europe decided the age of military power is over. And so Russia is attempting to subjugate Ukraine. But then the third part of this is a consensus that everyone accepts this. It's almost too utopian to come about. And so what's emerging right now, which I think is a danger, is a Chinese-centered order and a U.S.-centered order, and that we're breaking down again. And that's not a healthy outcome. It's not the outcome we want. But that gets to the economics. And that's what I wanted to touch on, because the economics are that China, I think in 2016-17, invested $53 billion in the United States. Last year, $1 billion. So there's already a decoupling. There's already a breaking down. And the question is, how does this play out right now? And so I think you're going to see, in an economic sense, you're going to see these two worlds, but it's not going to be that neat. I think you're going to see the evolution of regional organizations, and regional, because it's so hard to create a world order, I think you're going to see regional orders spring up. And then you have links between regional orders, but they will be very much guided by economic interests, social interests, and also security interests. You see things like the Quad, like the Abraham Accords, so ad hoc, not inflexible alliances, and that seems to me what's emerging at the moment.
Should countries' governments be forced to make a choice, to take a side at this point, Pippa? I mean, certainly, again, this is a big narrative here. This is this is a struggle by two great powers. I use the
Okay, so listen to what she says, a struggle between two great powers. I use this term lightly. So basically, it's two power structures, three, Russia, China, America, working behind the scenes, not against each other, working behind the scenes to try to continue to control the monetary system. You heard him say how much China has invested in America, how much farmland they own. We know that, right? Why is China investing so much into America as this whole narrative goes down?
Term great loosely to a certain extent, but two great powers and others being forced to take a choice. I think this speaks to this kind of emergence of these regional powers and the emergence of the middle powers here, because we're hearing, quite frankly, don't force us into a corner here. Are they right?
Well, it may be a bit late for that. I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China and said, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we're on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain.
Okay. So right there, the new accounting is what we call blockchain. Okay. Now she's been in the game with her dad since 1971. Now I've been spending the last 24 hours to 32 hours monitoring what her and her dad have been doing. Okay. Now this is President Nixon right here pulling us off the gold standard in 1971.
Element in building the new prosperity is closely related to creating new jobs and halting inflation. We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world. In the past 7 years, there's been an average of one international monetary crisis every year. Now, who gains from these crises? Not the working man, not the investor, not the real producers of wealth. The gainers are the international money speculators. Because they thrive on crises, they help to create them.
Did you hear what he just said? He said they thrive on crises, they help to create them. The very president that literally took us off the gold standard, he literally told us to our face what they do, and he's acting like it's some esoteric person, not them.
In recent weeks, the speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar. The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
So basically, he took us off the gold standard. Okay, so you cannot convert your money into gold. Okay, only in the interest of the financial stability of United States, the powers to be. Okay, so let's fast forward to where we're at now. Russia in 2021, Russia says it will remove dollar assets from its wealth fund. Okay, this was in 2021. I brought this to you guys on my YouTube channel, okay, last year. So 2021, Russia says it will remove dollar assets from the wealth fund. This is before the narrative started in 2022. China and Russia ditch dollar and move towards a financial alliance. Greenback share, neighbors, trade has fallen 50% for the first time. This was in August 6, 2020. Okay, I should have flipped those orders. So this was 2020. This is 2021. Okay. U.S. executive order. This was March 2022. Sanctions the trade of Russia's gold reserves. Okay. Now, Russia has increased its gold reserves dramatically in the last 2 years. China in 2019, right before the C word hit, increased their gold purchases dramatically. We know how much land China owns in America. Brazil's central bank quadruples exposure in Chinese yuan. Brazil's central bank more than quadruples its foreign reserves in Chinese yuan last year, policymakers report Thursday, as it trimmed holding of US dollars and euros and built Brazilian reserves currency in its biggest trade partner. Japan, here comes the narrative. Central banks tells G7 to figure out crypto regulation and to do it very, very fast. I put very fast in there. That was yesterday, 2022. The EU Parliament passes privacy-busting crypto rules despite the industry's criticism. Lawmakers are set to end in even small anonymous crypto transactions and even measures that could see unregulated exchanges shut off. The EU is like, we want unregulated exchanges smashed. Regulation is coming fast, warriors. Fact sheet, President Biden to sign executive order on ensuring responsible and development of digital assets. This was on March 9th. Warriors, do you see how heavy the narrative is? All of a sudden, C-word narrative stop. Boom. Russia, war with Russia, cut them off the SWIFT system. First thing, Russia, Ukraine, cyber attack on their banks. And all of a sudden, and we're not questioning this, all of a sudden, everything's digital currency, executive orders. All these announcements were Janet Yellen. Oh, cryptocurrency is a fraud. Oh, maybe cryptocurrency can underpin our financial system. A year ago, she was telling you it's a fraud. It's used for illicit transactions, but now it may underpin our financial system, okay? And I'll just end with this video once again. Jerome Powell letting us know this was back in 2020, 21, and he said this in 2020 when everything was falling apart. They all knew lock and step that we're moving into a new financial system. And this is what he lets the American people know as they're about to lose their jobs and can't pay for their gas, can't pay for their groceries.
Not going back to the same economy. This will be a different economy. And one of the things we hear from companies is that they've spent a lot of time since the pandemic arrived looking at ways to have more effective technology and perhaps fewer people. So you're going to see some of that in these public-facing jobs. So there will be millions of people who have a hard time finding their way back into the workforce and recovering the lives that they had just a year ago. And, I think it would be appropriate for us to continue to support those people. The recovery, though, here remains uneven and incomplete. The burden is still falling on lower income workers. The unemployment rate in the bottom quartile is still 20%. There's still 8.5 million people out of work. And this unevenness that we're talking about is a very serious issue. Viruses are no respecters of borders. And until the world really is vaccinated, we're all going to be at risk of new mutations, and we won't be able to really resume activity with confidence when people are out of work for a long period of time. The record shows empirically that their whole economic lives and frankly their broader lives as human beings can be damaged even permanently. So we want to avoid that, and I would say we have avoided.
Okay, so you need to pay attention to voice inflection. So do you see when he was talking about the V part, he said like 5 times during that sentence because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it. He knows what he's saying is moving our people. I mean, he's part of a system that is hurting the middle class. He's telling us right now, hey, guys, I'm warning you. It's almost like, hey, guys, I'm letting you know middle class is about to get crushed. Here's what's going to happen, warriors. I'm going to keep saying the same narrative. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind, and maybe some of you will activate. Maybe some of you will invest in some speculative assets and invest in the infrastructure of the new financial system and maybe change your financial future. I don't know. I believe 401ks are going to get smashed. Just my opinion, 401ks are attached to the stock market. We're in the 7-year Shemitah. We're literally going to have a stock market crash. In my opinion, the US dollar, the reason why is you have tons of zombie companies. There's been all the money was printed into the system. And where did that money go? It's sitting in companies that are increasing no GDP. There's no growth in these companies. Your stock market is super overvalued. Go look up the Warren Buffett indicator. Look up Warren Buffett indicator. If you don't believe me, believe Warren Buffett, okay? Big companies are moving into Bitcoin. Russia, China, America, gold reserves. They took us off the gold standard so they could print money into oblivion. And who got really, 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 really wealthy? Exactly President Nixon told you. He said the people trying to undermine the financial system, the very people that run our country, they're the ones that got very, 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 very wealthy. So they packed their bags. Since 1971, they knew the new financial system was coming. They switched to new financial system. And then we go into this big, long period of a new financial system. And there's a whole new, or the power stays in the same hands, or there's an opportunity like it is right now where it can switch hands or be added to new hands so that we can change the narrative. That's the only thing that we can do. So I'm going to continue to bring this information to you guys. What am I doing? I'm investing in distributed ledger technology, infrastructure, the financial system, anything that I feel that is connected to the new messaging system, ISO 20022. I'm investing in gaming, blockchain, the new infrastructure of our financial system. I'm investing in the new infrastructure of supply chain management. So you can join the conversation down below by joining our free Discord. I appreciate you guys. I love you from the bottom of my heart to yours. This is not an April Fool's joke. Shit's about to go down. Warriors, get your shit together. Let's go.